Hello, everyone. Welcome to Thought for Thursday. As you know, Thought for Thursday is a part of Leveling Up the podcast, which is a podcast that you can find on your favorite listening stream. Thought for Thursday is the segment of Leveling Up that we bring to you on Thursday nights. It's 15 minutes, 15 whole minutes, where we attack what I like to call some reinvention things that may be paining us, things that we really need a solution around, some tools for. We bring that issue to you, and within 15 minutes, we give you 5 tools that you can use so that when you leave here, you will have a resource to turn things around for you. So I am so grateful to have you here this evening with me. It has been a jam-packed 3, 4, 5 months for me as I prepared for something that took place over this past weekend, something that I teased about earlier in the advertisement or in the social media tool that I put out there today, the post that I put out there letting you know that I was going to talk about something that happened over the weekend, and it was Miss Corporate America, Maryland, the competition that took place. And what I was really going to focus in on was what was done, or not just what was done, but how all of that really played a huge part in reinvention, or how a lot of it really pointed to some work that I had done around reinvention, some things that I needed to do. And if I had not done, I would not have produced the event that took place over the weekend, because it just would not have been anything that I would have pursued in my wildest dreams. I really stepped out of my comfort zone in doing Miss Corporate America, Maryland. It was not familiar. It didn't feel safe initially. And I really stepped into something bold and new and powerful. And let me say again, this was not a place that was very comfortable for me for a very long time. I would steer away from those things that were unsure, although I may have been feeling deep down that it was something that was in the area that I wanted to pursue, or something that definitely pointed to my potential, something that pointed to what I really held strong beliefs around. And in this case, supporting women and elevating them and helping them to be empowered and helping them to grow. Although it was something that I felt was really important to me, I steered away from it because of the unfamiliar. Now, what I'm talking about is not just confidence or courage. I'm talking about something deeper. I'm talking about those things that have to be in place for reinvention. And they were the things that had to be in place for me to have the proper tools to go forward and to do what occurred over the weekend. We've been discussing the core tools here, and I refer to those as your mindset, your beliefs, and your purpose. Those are the core things. Those are the tools upon which you build that reinvented place that you want to be. Mindset, the way you think about yourself, your life, your potential, and what you believe is possible. It involves shifting from fear and from doubt and from limitation to confidence, courage, and growth. The other part of the core that I talk about are your beliefs, of course, those stories and those narratives that you hold, stories that could have, come about just yesterday, or could have developed years ago when you were barely, as my grandmother used to say, knee high to a tadpole. You used to be in different situations. You used to experience different things. You've grown through certain things. These are all the stories that make up that core and that belief system that you currently have, or the beliefs that you have that in many instances you really shouldn't have. And doing work on this really involves identifying and rewriting limiting beliefs that may have occurred over time so that they align with the life that you're trying to build. The other part of the core is purpose. We talk about purpose a lot. That's understanding who you are at your core, what you're here to do, understanding those passions and how they pour into purpose, understanding how all of that creates a bigger picture for you. What are you called to do? And how you're going to live in alignment with that calling. So, purpose really does fuel your reinvention because it's a part of the core. It gives direction and it keeps you grounded during transition. So, those three things make up the core. And like I said, we've been talking about them over the past few weeks. So, how is it that I was able to use some of these core things in redefining who I was, reevaluating where I wanted to be, really changing my mindset so that I can pursue, or so that I could pursue things that I did, such as what happened over this past weekend. So let's look at a couple of the things that I'm talking about. So let's be clear, first of all, doing core work isn't easy work, but it's definitely something that can be done, and it is absolutely necessary in order to move in the way that you need to move to accomplish many of the dreams, the vision that you've written down, many of the processes that you need to go through. You have to have a solid core to do that. So how is it that these things were able to help me? And I'm using specifically help me in being able to do what was done over the weekend. Well, first of all, purpose really anchored my vision. All right. So let's be clear. The competition itself was more than the crown, and in all of the social media things that I put out and all of the marketing and the advertisement, we stress the importance of understanding that, because the relationship that we develop with the contestants goes far beyond the crown. It points into relationship and camaraderie and sisterhood, so that that elevation that takes place doesn't just take place in getting you to the crown, but it goes beyond that. All right. It was about creating a space where ambition and beauty and intelligence and leadership really kind of collided. And that only happened because I was clear on purpose. And when you're rooted in purpose, you're not thrown so much by the challenges. That's not to say that you're not going to be moved by them, but you're not totally thrown to the wayside, as I like to put it. You don't get totally distracted. That's not to say, you notice I said totally, because there will be times when you get distracted, but then that same purpose helps to pull you back in alignment. You don't get so distracted by other people's opinions. You know why you're doing what you're doing, and that anchors you. To do reinvention without purpose is really just noise. You're just making the moves. You're not really doing anything that's going to lead you into anything that is successful. It really gives you your life new meaning, as long as you understand that you have to operate in this and that it is absolutely necessary for any kind of reinvention. So what else? Mindset. My mindset really refused to let fear win. Now, there were times when fear really did creep in, particularly when I hit a stumbling block and I didn't understand where I was supposed to go. And I found out things that I didn't know that were necessary. Fear really did try to sneak in. Fear, frustration, all of the things that really do eat at the core. All of the things that really destroy that foundation that you need in order to build. Yeah, fear showed up. Doubt whispered, definitely. What if no one shows up? What if this absolutely fails? What if you don't get contestants? What if people don't understand the vision? But I didn't totally bow into it. Now, there were folks out there who can tell you, oh, I was leaning in on them quite heavily. And there were times when all of these things were really evident. But deep down, I knew somewhere along the line, I've got this. Even if I have to figure it out as I go, I'm not going to back down. So reinvention really requires that kind of inner strength. You can't build a new life, all right? You can't build a reinvented life with an old mindset. You've got to change it so that it aligns with what it is that you're trying to do. If your mindset is stuck on negativity, it's not going to get you in a positive direction. If it's stuck on lack, you're certainly not going to grow. If it's stuck on less than, you'll never be more than what you desire to do or more than who you desire to be. All right. What's the third thing that I can talk about? Well, belief really did carry the vision before it was reality. I had to dig deep down and believe in something, believe where I was going, even before I saw it. Belief is what allowed me to really move before resources were all in place and before answers were clear. Now, if your beliefs are broken and you don't believe you deserve better or you can do more or that you're capable, then you talk yourself out of every opportunity. I'm talking from a place that I know very well. For years, I talked myself out of everything that I ever desired to do because I operated from a place of, you've heard of imposter syndrome. I was imposter syndrome turned on 1,000. I didn't believe that I knew what I didn't know. I felt that I wasn't capable. I was hiding behind something. There was this knowledge that I proclaimed to have, but really didn't have. I know I'm not the only one who has dealt with something like that or who deals with something like that. But I had to really plug into those beliefs and believe that I was equipped. I had to know somewhere deep down that I was called, that I was ready, even if I didn't feel like it every day. There were days when you really have to push. There were days when I had to push to go forth and carry out the dream. So reinvention really does require belief in yourself and in your assignment. What is it that you're assigned to do? What else? Boundaries protected my focus. Oh my goodness. Boundaries, 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 and boundaries. Let me be honest. When you're building something new, everybody has an opinion. How about when you're just trying to do anything? Everybody has an opinion, right? And if you don't have boundaries, you're going to be pulled in 30 million directions and you're going to totally lose focus. So because I had clarity and was grounded in purpose, I could say, this is what I'm doing. This is why I'm doing it. And I can't be distracted. Now, keep in mind, everything that I'm saying tonight doesn't mean that these things didn't happen. But somewhere along the line, even if I started to derail, even if I started to get distracted, somewhere along the line, I knew I had to pull myself back in focus so that I could do what it was, all that there was that I had to do. That's what a strong core gives you, the power to protect your peace and stay focused on your path. Some weeks ago, my pastor talked about this, and I can't remember the exact title, but it talked about the importance of protecting your peace and not letting people take your peace. And let me tell you, if you don't have those boundaries in place, then your peace is not protected. Your focus is off, and you're going to derail. And that derail, I don't know. I think when you derail in that way, it's worse than actually being pulled off focus. It's because you realize that you have allowed something to happen that you really could and should have controlled. All right. So boundaries protected my focus. And the fifth thing, as we pull closer to 15 minutes here, is purpose drew the right people in. When you're aligned at the core, you don't really have to chase support. And I say that kind of really thinking that through because there were times when I really didn't feel like I was getting the support that I needed or I could find the support I needed. But then there were also many, many times when I attracted that support because people believed in the vision. People believed in the things that I had established. People believed in the things that had already been established. And they were able they knew me. They knew where I was trying to go. They understood my platform. They understood what I wanted to do, and they were able to buy into that. And then I was able to draw the support that was needed. You know, the women who competed, they showed up. The people who showed up, the energy in the room that day, it all came together because the assignment was divinely aligned. When your purpose is clear and your mindset is strong and your beliefs are rooted in truth, you're going to be positioned for favor. That's the only way I can think to describe that. The right doors will begin to open. The wrong doors, they'll shut. Sometimes the wrong doors get you totally confused, and you may go through 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 of them. But the important thing is you find that door that's going to lead you back to where you need to be. So again, I've talked about 5 things tonight that really pointed to a strong core. I talked about how purpose really anchored the vision. I talked about how mindset really refused to let the fear win. How belief really carried the vision before it was reality. Boundaries protected my focus, and purpose drew the right people. Again, all of these things did not happen immediately. All of these things did not have hiccups. All of these things did not go exactly as I described that they should go. But the important thing is to know where it is, to be able to get centered again, to be able to get grounded, to be able to correct that core so that you can move in the way that you need to move. And that's what I wanted to tell you about this weekend, and how a strong core, how it was an example of making sure, or the importance of making sure that your core was situated. I didn't step into a new space because I was fearless. I stepped into it because I did have a good sense of being rooted, a rooted mindset and belief and purpose. And so can you. It's not about becoming someone else. It's about finally aligning with who you always were, who you are meant to be. But first, again, you've got to do that core work. So take this away tonight as I go over my 15 minutes. If you want to create a life that thrives, stop moving before your foundation is set. Stop skipping the foundation. All right. Strengthen that core, and you'll have the power that you need to build what it is that you want to build. All right. So a little over 15 minutes, but an example how core work in this instance helped to build the crown. Now go out and be you, be bodaciously, just be authentic in who you are. Touch something, because your thumbprint makes a world of difference. It is so important what you do, how you do it, and how you pursue things in order for you to make sure that you're moving in the right direction. So move in the right direction and make sure that that core is established so that you can grow. Have the right mindset. And if you need some support around that, I have a program that deals with this, that works that core to get it in the right position, and then we begin to do the work on the other things that sprout from that, the career, the new life that you desire to have. But the core work is essential. So go out and touch something, as I said. Make sure that you make a difference. For more information on the program, text MORE, the word MORE, to 240-789-4299. That is MORE, 240-789-4299. And we can get started on building that thriving life. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of the day, whatever part of the day it might be. And we'll talk again next week.